Good morning and welcome to Natasha Makes. Jane, it's Stitchy Witchy Wednesday, Jane.
We're back to Stitchy Witchy Wednesday.
Yay, it's the school holidays, so we have juggled things around a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're Stitchy Witchy Wednesdaying. This was your slot, this
It
one.
was my slot.
This one here. Get out of Jane's slot, Natasha. We've stolen it back. We've taken
But only for
ownership
this
of
week.
it.
I'm back on Monday, aren't I?
I know,
Next week.
yeah. Next week, Lisa Chandler's booting you out of your slot.
Oh, well,
we'll allow that.
I'm quite happy for Lisa
Yes.
to boot me. I'm so
She can
excited to meet
absolutely.
her.
Me too.
I've
Me
spoken
too.
to her several times early hours of the morning when I've come
Yeah.
into work, and Natasha's been talking to her. But it will be lovely to meet her.
I can't believe it's the mark of the last few years we've had, isn't it? That
Yeah.
we've not met in person. So
Yes.
next week it'll be Lisa Chandler. I know. Not to say we're not excited about today, Jane, because you're here.
Oh my gosh! And, this
this
fabric.
is here.
Oh, I love this fabric.
We've been waiting for this very excitedly, have we not?
Yeah.
And you love this so much, Jane, that today's sample is not for sale
No, I'm having it.
because this
Mine.
one's Jane's. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw this and I thought, there's a long arm opportunity in these and those in the middle.
Yeah.
And you're going to be
absolutely.
having a twiddle with your
Yeah.
machine.
Have a practice.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely
The fabrics
stunning.
are stunning. The colours. I don't know whether the colours will come across on the camera, but
Well,
they're
we're going to
luscious.
find out because we've got all the pieces cut and we can go into close-up. We can do it properly, Jane,
Yeah.
can't we? What I'm going to do first, however, is just check that you can all see and hear us because
Well, that helps,
that's
doesn't
the
it?
thing. I've not had any messages from that there SJ to tell me that you can't, so fingers crossed. It looks like we're live on Facebook.
Very
It would
good.
seem so. And my little pre-message has gone up. Ba-dum, there it is. And on YouTube, I can see Daryl's messaged us to say good morning, ladies. So that would suggest that she can see us. SJ, please tell me that Facebook is working and that it's behaving itself. It hasn't been. It's been a bit naughty. So that's been a bit of a problem. We're all good. Excellent. Nothing like me on my phone, on the screen. Hey. Marvellous. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Because today we have got the new fabric launch, which is super exciting. These are beautiful regardless, actually. Even if this quilt here is not for you or you don't get one quick enough, because we have limited kits
Yes.
on a crazy introductory price.
There's a lot of fabric in the kits.
Enormous
It's
amount.
Gorgeous.
Even if you don't manage to get one of these, this fabric collection is stunning as a blender.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
It's the sort of fabric you'll want in your stash because it will come in so handy
Exactly.
for any of your projects.
I've already got my eye on several colours that I know will going to go so beautifully with things that are in my stash.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Let's see if we can say hello to everyone and be polite, Jane. We have Julia France here. She says, morning peeps, and she's put a sunshine.
Yes, we got sunshine.
We have got some sunshine. I'm quite excited about this. Jimmy says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Jimmy.
Morning, Jimmy.
Jane Vivash, morning. Martin, morning. Pat Adams, good morning. Everyone's having a good morning.
Well, that's what we
apparently.
want. We want everyone to
Yeah.
have a good morning. That's
Ginny
what it's
Mackey
nice.
says it's a sunny morning as well in Coupon.
Lovely.
I think that's how you pronounce it, Ginny. Sorry if it's not. Claire Everett as well. She's from that there Yorkshire. She says morning. So it's sunny there as well, hopefully. Fingers
Let's hope
crossed.
some
Sunny everywhere
sunshine.
today.
Yeah, we need some sunshine now. I think we've had enough of the rain. I know we needed it,
I
but
know.
we've had enough now.
Tash keeps saying we need it for the hay.
Yes.
I need a bit of sunshine now.
But
I
they
need it
need-
for the bones.
They need the sunshine
Yes.
to harvest it. They need it
They
for
do.
the rain for it to grow, but now they need the sunshine so they
Farmer
can
Ali's been
harvest.
telling us this. They've had
Yeah.
all sorts of problems because of the rain. It's been no fun at all.
Yeah.
Jane Gray says, morning ladies, I can only watch for a short time, so we'll catch up with what I miss later. And you can. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Natasha Makes. Some of you might be here for the first time, in which case, hello, welcome. It's nice to have you with us. We are Natasha Makes. We are based here in the UK. On Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we go live UK time at 10.
We do.
We do.
Give you a little demonstration of making lovely things.
But you can see us all over the world. By some internet wizardry and magic that we do not claim to understand. But it somehow works.
It works.
That there SJ
Yeah.
sorts that out.
And you can watch us back, can't you,
Yes.
on YouTube?
Yes, you can. We have been around now for 3.5 years. So there is 3.5 years of us prattling, of beautiful demonstrations and
yes.
nonsense conversations.
Expert tuition.
Available on our website and on our YouTube page. So go and have a look. Anything you want to purchase on today's show, you will find on our website, natashamakes.com. You can click the Watch Live page and click View All, or you can click the Workshop Wednesday link and again View All, and it will all be there for you. If you have missed a previous show, maybe you missed yesterday. You didn't get to see Natasha playing with her fabulous knobs. And Powertex.
Yes,
as well.
that was exciting.
Yes.
We're all like, oh, I need some of that
All
now.
of us are taking a bottle of Powertex home. I'm very excited about this. Maybe you missed that. In which case, you can watch that one back later. Maybe you missed Monday. Honestly, where were you? But there are shows there for 3.5 years for you to watch back. And that does mean that if you're buying something that we're demonstrating on a show and you think, oh, I'm not sure because I might not remember how to do this in future, you can always watch the show back. You can find it, you can watch it back, and you can make along with us.
Yeah, and you can always email us at info@natashamakes.com.
Yep.
Because we're on hand to help if we can.
Always.
And we'll direct you into the right place if we can't.
Always, absolutely. For those international viewers amongst you, hello, and it's nice to see you too. I know we can't send you fabulous fabrics all the way across to the other side of the world. We know this. We're sorry. It's just a nightmare.
We'd love to, but it costs you very lot of money.
However, we do have our digital patterns. We've got a huge library of digital patterns available, and again, the tutorials are online to back those up. So if you want to support us, because we do bring you this content for free, then please do have a look at our patterns. Download one or two here and there and just help to keep us ticking along.
Yes, that would be lovely if you would.
Good stuff. Jane, we do something special on a Wednesday, ready for a Thursday. And we look at our half-meter heavens.
Yes.
Now, I think they'll bring a bit of sunshine this week. I'll let you get those on the desk ready.
Yeah.
There's a few little messages I do just need to mention, and one in particular.
All right.
I know. Apart from the fact that Faye says, morning girls. We love being called girls.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anne says, morning ladies, the quilt is fabulous. I need sunshine on Friday for my wedding day.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations. Very excited for you. That's amazing. Anne, have you made anything for your wedding? And if so, like, we're nosy. We love to see these things.
Yeah, share it.
If you do want to share your makes with us, Anne, or anyone else for that matter, then you can send them to us or you can post them onto our Community Makes page. On our website, natashamakes.com, you'll see the Community Makes page. If you click the link there, you can upload your images. They will, once we've authorised and approved them, they will be visible to the wider world. So please don't load anything up there unless you're happy for the world and his wife to see it, okay? It won't show instantly, don't worry. It's not that you've pressed the button wrong or anything like that. It's that we have to check it's not anything naughty or offensive or anything like that before we let it go on the website.
Because we do get people that do that.
Some people like to show us things they're
We
proud
do,
of.
yes. Which we might not necessarily want to show you.
No, quite, exactly. But you can share that way, or if you do just want to show myself, Jane, Natasha, the team here, you can send us an email. Just pop in there to say, for your eyes only, it's info@natashamakes.com. But yeah, have a fabulous day. Fabulous, fabulous wedding day. I'm so excited for you, Anne. That's amazing.
That'd be lovely.
I hope we get to see pictures. Anne Atwood says, is Inga still with you? Yes, she is. She is.
She is?
She said she'll be with us until, we're going to get through the school holidays.
Yeah.
Got to do that. And then, yes, we'll need somebody packing in the warehouse in her place, filling her shoes
Yes.
in Wimbledon Common, which is what we call the little wobbly corner that she stands in where she packs. Joe Standage says, morning all. Oh, we've got a good evening from Victoria, Australia as well.
Well, good evening.
And Albon is saying that she is going to have to catch up later, but looking forward to seeing all the magic. Martin. Wonder if there'll be any knob gags today. Missed that one earlier then. Of course, Martin. There's always room for a good knob gag. We love that. Joking aside, Natasha did have the most beautiful array of door handles and sparkly knobs. In fact, knobs that were sparkly, knobs that weren't sparkly.
Yes.
Teeny tiny dinky knobs, which we're quite fond of.
Yeah.
And really lovely big handful knobs. An array of.
And
in
sparkly
yesterday's show.
ones. Yeah.
Yes.
Lovely.
So if you need a new knob in your life, and perhaps you're going to upcycle some furniture,
Yeah.
that's what I did, then do check it out because those prices are ridiculous. We managed to get some really fabulously priced bankrupt stock, basically. So we've passed that discount on to you. Hello, Caroline Carrie Marrow in sunny Gloucestershire as well. On YouTube, we mustn't forget, Diane says, hello ladies, I love that you have digital downloads so that I can support you all the way here in Australia. Thank you, Diane.
I'm very grateful to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to put the overhead cam on. So we
Let's
can
do these half-meter heavens.
I've snuck two more in the bottom there, Jane.
Have you?
Yes, you're going to get to those and go, what are these?
Cheeky.
What are these, she'll say. What's Gemma to put there? They're the half-meter heaven, Jane.
Yes.
is a 1/2 metre of designer fabric and a 1/2 metre of complementary plain, as selected by us and Natasha.
Yeah.
To perfectly complement one another.
They are usually the last little bit on the bolt.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get some individual bolts in that have just got a small amount on, which we then...
Sometimes she gets fabric in that never gets sold by the 1/2 metre. This is one of them.
This is the carpet cookies from Cave Collective.
In sky colourway. Pretty, isn't it?
It's pretty. We used it last week in the circle table runner, and this is the last little bit of the stock that was left over. And we've put it with amethyst.
Looks really
lavender.
nice together, doesn't it?
Is it lavender or amethyst? Amethyst, I was right.
Yeah.
Picks it up. There's lots of the purple colours in here, and it flashes the orange as well. Yeah. Purple works well with the orange. That's a really good fun fabric because you can have fun fussy cutting this. If you like EPP, you can pick elements out. You can use, in your patchwork, you can use a different square in the middle and have the amethyst as a border around it.
Fabulous.
You can have lots of fun with this fabric. It's lovely. There's lots of colour and opportunities in it.
The amethyst works really well, doesn't it?
It does. It pulls all the colours. It works well with the lemons and the oranges, and there is a little bit of amethyst colourway in there.
Beautiful with that background colour as well.
Yeah, really does complement it. And this is what we aim to do. We aim to find a plain colour that will complement the designer fabric, so that you can be assured that you've got a fabric that goes and blends with it nicely. Because it's not always very easy online, is it, to tell whether a colour goes or not.
Trying to choose, it's like trying to choose paint online, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
completely impossible. Or even in a shop. It's a nightmare. But here, we've looked at it under different lights, we've selected it, and you can be assured they look great together. Jane, very important to mention that these are not available immediately.
No, these are Thursday.
They are our Thursday deal. So midnight tonight. You can be poised at 1 minute to midnight. Some of you have caught wind of the fact that if you're there at 1 minute to, they appear as if by magic. And you can pop them in your basket and check them out. Because they're limited quantity, all of these.
We have got some stock of, previous week's 1/2 metre heavens left. So if you can't wait till midnight tonight, go and have a look, because there's some lovely ones. There's some really nice ones.
Some of those will be pulled down soon because we have got projects in mind to work with those. So, yeah, do grab any previous 1/2 metre heavens.
Yeah, there's Tilda, Tula Pink, Moda, all sorts of gorgeousness of Cafe and Dina Designs. There's some beautiful Dina Designs ones. There's some really lovely fabrics.
Jane, this is a bit special because it's not cotton, is it?
It's not cotton. Well, it is cotton, but it's linen.
Yeah.
And it's slightly heavier weight.
Beautiful.
So great for bags, small projects, pencil cases, pouches, cushions bound with this one, bordered. You can still mix and match because it's a lightweight linen. It's a heavier weight than the quilting cotton, but it still will blend with the quilting cotton.
That'd be really nice with some of our flanged piping as well.
Oh, wouldn't it?
A deep
blue. Or you could pick the creamy colour. It's really beautiful.
Nice cream.
We have got, that's a lovely paisley, and we have another colourway of that, which is the same pattern, but sort of reverse, if you like. It's the cream background with the blue on. So we've got a limited stock of this one as well. And we've put this with, that one's with our navy, and we've put this one with our misty blue, because it picks up this lovely turquoisey colour. But if you have the whole, you could have some fun with all of that, couldn't you?
Really could.
Make a little patchwork pouch, line it, bind it, straps, all sorts of things.
As well. That'd look gorgeous, wouldn't it?
Beautiful.
There's something about linen cushions that just it adds a little look.
Yeah, they're classical, aren't they? Really, they've got a bit of, and they're better, sort of more strong wearing somehow, don't they feel when they're like linen fabric?
Definitely.
More strong wearing? I don't think that's English even.
Hard wearing.
Don't think that's even English.
Excellent English, and Jane.
Yeah.
We're nothing if not educational here.
Tries our bestest.
We do.
There's some more gorgeous Cave here. This is the wisteria. And again, this is the last little bit left after last week's show. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's a classic collective, but it's our fabulous.
And we've put that with
design that one.
We love Phillips designs, don't we?
I am a massive fan of Phillips. I think everyone knows he's like my favouriteest.
Florals.
My favouriteest is Philip. But look. These, to me, I look at them and I'm like, oh, I really want to paint this. I want to get some heavy acrylic and I want to paint this.
Yeah.
But I never make it look as beautiful as Philip's done in this fabric. So
No. I always want to have wisteria growing outside my house.
Yes.
There's a house in Eccleshall and it's got the most gorgeous, it's a Georgian house. It's got the pillared front door and all of that. And they've got wisteria growing over there, and you walk past it, and it smells gorgeous.
But it's the sight of it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a postcard property there.
Yeah.
I bet at Christmas
beautiful.
it even looks beautiful as
Oh,
well.
yeah,
There's no wisteria and
there's a wreath on the door, and it's just perfect.
oh, stunning.
Yeah. So that's the
Amazing.
wisteria with fur. Then we've got a little bit of the Japanese chrysanthemum. Can't say it. And we've put that with our paprika. Look what this does to the fabrics when you put that paprika with it. Look at that. It even brings out, highlights this lovely green in the background. It's gorgeous.
It's one of my favourite fabrics, this one. I mean, I
love
chrysanthemum fan anyway.
I love that because there's so much variety in the pattern that you can have really good fun. If you were patchwork piecing with this, you get so many different colours and effects from the one piece of fabric. It's just gorgeous.
I have bought a Japanese chrysanthemum plant, Jane. It looked divine when I first bought it. Then the flowers die off and then you've got to try and nurture the flowers back.
Oh,
it is
right.
not easy.
Is it not?
No.
Oh.
This is one of the most temperamental plants known to man. It's looking really healthy as a plant, but will it flower? No. If anyone has a Japanese chrysanthemum and wants to give me some advice, I would gratefully... I've even managed to take cuttings off it and grow extra roots and create new plants. Are any of them flowering? No.
Oh dear.
I would really like some advice. I know we've got some very clever people on our team here, Team Makes.
We have got reflections here. This reminds me, you know, when you're in a busy street and it's wet, the street's wet and all the lights reflected, and I think this is what the inspiration is. And we've put that with our aqua.
Now this is George Mendoza. A month ago we put this up with the same plane. And it was the fastest selling Health Me to Heaven of that week. It disappeared. So this is a reload. Some of you might be looking and thinking, hang on a minute, deja vu. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's your lot.
We've used it all now.
Grab it quick. I mean, and if you don't, well, Jane and I'll be having it.
Such fun, that fabric. And again,
That's
there's such
scarf
variety.
Fabric, that.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So many varieties of colours.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Then we've got some beautiful, the word of today is beautiful. Today is brought to you by the letter B.
And the word
beautiful. This is Lewis and Irene. All small things, coastal, seagulls and puffins. We
like
love
that
this
paired
fabric.
this time.
Yeah, this is with paprika again.
Yes,
paprika. It just pulls out the little bits on the beak and the feet of the puffins.
It's sweet.
It's really cute.
Now this was one that this is fabulous for those bucket hats.
Oh yes,
Natasha's reversible bucket hat. Ooh,
Yeah.
Hello. In fact, lots of these would be great for the bucket hat. I fancy a George Mendoza
Yeah.
bucket hat.
You could make your beach bag as well pattern with this one for the beach with your seagulls and puffins on. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I love this. It's fun. Illustrations for Lewis and Irene are just gorgeous.
It's perfect for holiday, isn't it? You couldn't choose a better print, really.
This is colonial. Goodness me, my mouth isn't working.
If anyone sees Jane's teeth, could you send them in? I think she's left them at
Colonial
home.
pineapple. That's upside down. Look at the colours in that. That is such a fun
Don't leave
design.
pineapples upside down, Jane. That will
No,
not do.
that wouldn't work at all, would it?
No. Will not work at all.
Is this with amethyst again? Or is it with lavender?
That's amethyst, I think, and then the one next to it's lavender.
Yeah.
And then we can show the difference between amethyst and lavender, and then
It's
everyone
very
will see
subtle.
why we get confused. There is a subtle difference, but it's definitely there.
It's very subtle. One's got a little bit more sort of a grey tone to it, and the other one's more bluey. But yeah, if you don't see them together, it's not very easy to tell them
There's
apart.
a little more depth in the amethyst, isn't there, as well?
There is, yes, richer.
Yes.
And that just works beautifully with these colours within the pineapple.
It's Kelly Millie. Oh my gosh, I've lost
It's
the tooth as
catching!
well now.
It's catching!
Kelly Krentz.
Yes, well, it's not the easiest to say, is it?
Her whole name, I've decided.
Decided.
Studio KM, that's what she calls
Calls
herself.
herself, yeah.
She's trying to be nice and say her name properly, but no. Just no.
Beautiful, that is. It's
Oh
a
my
nice
word,
big
Jane.
bold print. Again, beautiful as the big beach bag or something like that, where you don't want to lose, or a cushion. Garden cushion, that would be lovely. This is pretty.
This is a miracle. This has made it onto stock because this is an Amy Butler fabric. We have 1/2 metre of it.
Oh, this is a fastest finger first,
Right.
yeah?
We have 1/2 metre of it. Amy Butler, for those that don't know, she stopped doing fabric design.
Yes.
It made us all very upset.
Yes, I'm very sad about
very
that.
upset. It was quite a few years ago now. So this is from the archives. This is a very rare piece of fabric, I say.
Yeah.
Certainly in these parts it is, because we've only got 1/2 metre. And the fact that I've put it on stock is nothing short of miraculous.
Yes.
I think it's just testimony to the fact I've had some very large bills drop, because otherwise it wouldn't have gone anywhere near stock. It's
We've got tulips in
beautiful.
here and rose bushes. It's really pretty fabric.
Really nice. And it's got so much colour in it that you really could have had
Anything.
lots of things with it. Spearmint would have looked great.
Yeah.
We could have got
There's
it with
even a bit of orange
an
in there.
orangey colour, like the paprika.
The paprika would look lovely with that too.
Fur. There's lots of different 1/2 metre heavens in front of us that would look grand with it. In fact, I have to say, if I was infinity scarfing, I would be very tempted, Jane,
Oh yeah, with
To
wisteria
put,
and a bit of fur in there as
exactly.
well.
and to have a third fabric.
Yeah.
To be fair, actually, you could put that in as your third. The infinity scarf is so adaptable like that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The George Mendoza. See, look now, there we go. I'm like, oh, maybe I don't need to
Yeah.
sell it. Maybe I need to keep this and make 2 infinity scarves.
Oh, watch out.
Because it's a 3 fat quarter make, the infinity scarf.
Yes.
So if you get your 1/2 metre heavens,
Make
maybe you
two.
get 3 that you like. You pop your 3 bits of plain in your stash. Chop your 1/2 metres in half. Hey presto.
Make one for yourself, one for a friend.
Yeah, that's what I always do, Jane.
It's a
And then
good
I
idea.
justify the fact that I've spent money because I've made a present for someone.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that one's for
Great
me.
gifts. Great gifts.
The things we do as crafters to justify our little
Spending.
frivolousnesses.
Yes.
We're all the same though, aren't we? This
We
is how
are.
we are.
We all do it. We all do
I
it.
know. It's like women's shopping logic, isn't it? Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Today's
There we
letter
go.
is B for biscuits. Oh dear.
Lovely.
Yeah, and Julia says, nope, C for coffee and chocolate.
Absolutely.
You are our tribe. You belong with us.
You are so for us. It's great.
Oh dear. Karen says, I have wisteria on the front of our house. It's been there 23 years, but it's never flowered.
Oh
Oh no. That's no good. She apologised for being late as well because she had to wait for the kettle to boil. Do you know, we know better than anyone the need for a brew.
no. Yes, absolutely.
Jane was working on this sample here and so stunning. So stunning. And I said, Lucy, Jane's been in her room for quite a while. Do you want to go and make her a coffee? Oh, shall I ask her? I said, no, just make her a coffee.
You
And
don't have
take
to
it
ask
her.
me if I want coffee. The answer's always yes.
Yeah, and because when Jane's quilting or when Jane's, piecing, she gets into the zone and then she'll just forget that things like having a drink or moving exist. And we all do that, don't we?
Yeah, we're all guilty. When you get into something and you love
yeah.
what you're doing, it's just easy, isn't it? The time flies.
This is a beautiful quilt. Now, this is not your design.
No,
We need to be clear on this.
this is designed by Rennie Nannyman, who is also the lady that has designed the fabric.
She has. And it's called cottage cloth, this fabric, isn't it, Jane?
Yes. It's a craft weight cotton,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got a linen tweedy effect print on
Beautiful.
it. It's sumptuous. That's what it is. It's sumptuous.
That's
Look at
what-
those colours. Whoa.
It is.
That's pieces of binding. It's just, ooh, that's all
According
to the
to
top.
that, their website, it has a slubby woven texture
Yes.
printed onto
Yeah.
100% premium quilting cotton. And there's 24 colours in this collection.
Yeah.
They're really beautiful and rich, aren't they?
They're
Jane?
really rich, rustic tones, and there's jewel colours in there and then autumnal colours. It's just lovely.
There's a lovely warmth to these as well, I think.
Yeah.
When you look at this quilt, you can't help but go, oh, that's really cosy. I want to snuggle
Yes.
under it.
It's definitely make a snuggly quilt.
It's beautiful. It's really fabulous. But it's not that it's, it's not masculine, it's not feminine, it's not... It's not old, it's not new.
It's got a modern twist to it with the half square triangles. Yeah. It's a traditional block.
Yeah.
It uses the fabric beautifully. She's combined the tones of the colours in a really clever way. So your eye is like constantly like dancing across it, looking at the different tones and how they go together. And it's a really good exercise in colour palette.
Yeah.
Because the colours that go together.
Yeah.
She's really used the tonal, colour wheel.
Yeah.
To make the colours work.
Which is great.
It's lovely.
I look at it though and I think my husband would love it.
Yes.
My daughter, who's 18, would absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You know, it very much has that kind of festival feel to it as well.
Yeah, it does.
As also being very classic.
Yeah.
So it's very clever. Very, very clever. I'm delighted with it, and I think you all are as well, because it seems to be selling quite well.
Lovely, that's good.
We do have a limited number of kits on this one, so just bear that in mind. What we've done with our kit, Jane, we've put the binding fabric in. What was declared as needed for the binding, and what perhaps we were originally going to kit out at, and what you then, when you've made it, have gone, no, it differs.
Yeah.
So with our kit that you see today, we've put a crazy introductory price on it, but it's got more fabric in it than perhaps we were going to kit it on, based on what the
thing is, the pattern is an American pattern and it's done in yards.
Yeah.
So we've done it in metres, and you always get just that little bit more, and it's actually nice to have that little bit more. It just gives you a bit of play.
Yeah.
It also means that you'll get a few extra blocks maybe, so you could make matching cushions.
Yes.
I'm just going to say.
And you have made this sample, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to show you
we know the kit
what I've got left over from.
Perfect, that works. Great.
So you have all of that left over. Ooh. I've got a little bit of all the fabric, so you could have some really good fun making cushions,
make some cushions for sure,
or anything else that you want to make. So
all those bits of fabric left.
Yeah.
Jane, that's loads of fabric left.
Some of it there's less than others.
Yeah, of course.
But there are some nice big pieces. It's mostly fat quarters, so you know, you've got some good pieces there. The background fabrics, what I consider the background fabrics, which you've got more of in the kit, you don't have as much left over of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got a fair chunk of some of them left over.
That's your binding at the bottom.
Yeah,
that's your
my binding
piece.
fabric.
That's not left over.
That's not left over. That's my binding, because I haven't done that. Got that far.
But there's a lot there.
There is. You're going to be able to make some. You know, you can look through your patchwork archive and find some nice blocks that you might want to incorporate it into to make coordinating cushions or similar with it.
And maybe you're looking at this and thinking, well, I have no idea how to do cushions. Don't worry about that. You can type in on our website, Cushion Finishing with Flair. Jane has taken a block and finished it in various different ways to make cushions, haven't you? You've done found cushions, and you've done
faux piped edging and
all sorts of things.
Flanged piping and all sorts of things like that. So you've got an idea of what you can do. Natasha's done a zipped cushion, hasn't she?
Yeah,
so
she has.
If you're a bit unsure about putting a zip in the back, she's shown you a really nice way of doing that.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different things on our website about finishing off cushions.
I have to say, I'd made cushions in the past and they'd always just looked homemade, whereas I got hold of your instructions for especially with the piped edging as well.
Yeah, the flanged piping,
piping. And oh my gosh, suddenly my cushions look really professional. I'm so proud of them. You know,
they look stunning. Yeah, they look stunning. And you've done some for the dog's couch and it was just gorgeous.
And the other week, my mum had chosen some fabrics to have 4 big cushions for her lounge. And I thought, well, I'll just make the back pieces, because I did envelope back with these. And I thought, I'll get everything pressed and cut up ready. And I thought, I'll just turn over the edges of the envelope pieces. And before I knew it, I'd made 4 cushions. Yeah. I made 4 cushion covers. This tells you I've got an 18-year-old without telling you I've got an 18-year-old. In less time than it took my daughter to put a face on. And she was gobsmacked. Her friend had arrived, had sat around waiting for her, and then they came into the kitchen before they left and went, "Oh, you were making cushions? How many weeks have you been making those?" said the friend. And Meg went, "No, she hadn't even started these when you arrived." I'm really, really, really pleased with those
They
instructions.
look stunning.
Jane. So I will tag those in today because you could use the block here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could sash it then or border it and sash it to make it to the size that you need for your cushion, and then just follow Jane's instructions. It's brilliant. You can have loads of fun with that.
You're going to have lots of fun with it.
Yes. And you've had loads of fun with this.
Yes. This fabric, I don't know if we can go close up, Gemma, and if I show it on this one.
Of course.
This is pumpkin, I think. Let me just, I've done a little checklist on my instructions because the names of them are delicious as well as the colours.
Yeah.
Oh, this is yam. This is yam, I think. Yeah. It's just gorgeous. But you can see on this one, if we can go close up on it.
Really important to mention actually, Jane, the pattern we have printed on our premium paper and put in these kits for free.
Can you see?
And they are these full colour instructions.
This is this pattern that's on all of the fabrics and it, what does it say? It's like a linen texture slub effect.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous. The fabric is from Andover. It's been printed by Andover. It's Freddie Nanneman's design. Andover are part of the Macawa group and their base cloth is gorgeous. It's a good quality, nicely woven,
you get a sturdy
nice
block,
weight
yeah.
to it. If you cut it on the straight of grain, use your best press. You're going to get hardly any fraying with it, even with your half square triangles that are on the bias. I just love working with their fabrics because they are just really good quality, and you know that with a nice clean new blade in and you cut it, it's got a lovely feel to it.
And I love the fact that they have printed on that, like you say, slubby woven texture look.
So it looks
Fabulous.
like it's linen. My auntie looked at my photograph and she said, oh, it looks like it's tweedy, and it does. It almost gives it like a tweed feel to it, which gives it that warmth that makes it look cosy.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
These colours are just going to be so lovely to have in your stash because they're going to go with so many of your fabrics that you've already got.
Are we going to look at each one close up, Jane?
Shall we?
Shall
we do that?
I think we should.
Let's start with the biggest piece that you're going to get in your kit, which is the...
do that.
Is it 1.5 meters that we're going to have?
2.1. Because
Now this is the charcoal.
Yeah, so you've got your 1.5 meters for your...
Let me bring it forward, that
quilt
so it
top.
goes into focus then.
And then we've given you 60 centimetres for binding, although, like I say, the recommendation all over the shop was 0.5 metre. We've gone to 60 centimetres, so you will have enough for your binding. We just always like to make sure that you've got exactly what you need. So we've given you more fabric than perhaps you should have done in the kit for a lower price than it would have been. I know, we're a bit bonkers.
My dad used to wear
that one.
charcoal suits for work. And this fabric reminds me of that.
Nice.
Even the weight of the fabric.
Beautiful.
I mean, it's not tailoring fabric really, not suit fabric, but you could make yourself a nice jacket with this as well.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Wouldn't
Because
you?
these
It's
are
just
available
gorgeous.
by the 0.5 metre,
Yeah.
and they're $5.99 a 0.5 metre. Which again, that should have been higher. We have tried to bring it to you at the most competitive price we possibly can.
This is called creamery.
Yes.
Just remember, I have to go the opposite way.
It's all right.
Look at that, that's gorgeous. And it's a lovely, soft, beigey cream colour. It's really nice.
Beautiful.
This one is called Harvester. And that's just a slightly darker tone to creamery. Look at that just together. You can just see the difference.
Yeah, there we go. Isn't it funny how they look very similar, then you put them together and you can see that tonal difference?
Yeah, it's lovely, that is. So you've got 1.5 meters of your charcoal, 3/4 metre of those two, and then these three. And we've got, just trying to remember what they are. We have got walnut, I think it is, cocoa, and
I can tell you.
yam, I think. No, not yam.
Was it the three there? You've got shadow, fossil and honeycomb in
That's
1.5
it.
metres.
Yeah.
Shadow, fossil and honeycomb
That's
are
it.
those three.
They're just gorgeous.
Yep.
Lovely warm tones of fabric, I think. And then we've got this great big bundle
Which, if we went through every single one, we'd be here all day.
Of-
They are stunning.
fat quarters. There's beautiful jewel tones in there, the lovely greens, oranges, golds.
In there you've got sapphire,
ambers,
indigo, seaweed, olive, moss, walnut, cocoa, pumpkin, yam, grape, violet, chili, pink fizz, plum, ocean, Venetian, moon glow and cider. There are many, Jane.
Beautiful, aren't they?
Many.
Just sumptuous. And they've all got that sort of tweedy, shadowy effect to them, which gives them a lovely depth and warmth to the tones. Really lovely.
So that part that Jane has in her hand there, that is fat quarters. So we have all those fat quarters. You get 3/4 of a metre each of the harvester and the creamery, 1/2 metre each of shadow, fossil and honeycomb, and a whopping 2.1 metres of the charcoal.
And that's your
So
kit.
it is a big, old kit.
It's a nice, chunky amount of fabric, that is. Even if you didn't want to make the pattern behind
Exactly
us, you've got a lovely bundle of fabric that you could put to any quilt.
That's a stash builder, isn't it? And the price that we're bringing it to you at as well is bonkers. And you do get your pattern for free. Okay.
Yeah.
Printed on our beautiful premium paper for free. Janie, you better make something.
I better had to do something, hadn't I? Now, the block itself is straightforward. If we go overhead, Gemma, I just can show the block.
So I press the button, it just takes a minute.
That's fine. You can see it's a square bordered with half square triangles and squares in the corner. All the blocks are made exactly the same way. You just need to read the instructions through thoroughly and check in the pattern there is a diagram that shows you exactly the layout and it tells you which colour goes with which. Just familiarise yourself with this. This is the point. The block itself is simple and goes together quickly, but you can drive yourself mad if you don't get the right combination of fabrics.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. I worked in a very methodical way. I cut each fabric, I took the fabric, I took the one that went with it and the background fabric, and I cut each one to the block, put them to one side, labelled, and went through that way. Because in the instructions it tells you what to cut from each fabric, but I found it easier to work through each block, working out which colour went with which, because some of the colours, once they look similar but they're not the same. We showed you that with the harvester and the creamery. So it's just, and you can see, so you've got that block there, and then you mix it in with what I've been calling the border block. So that's a different block again, all half square triangles, and that sits on the top of the block like that. Now again with this, just keep checking back to your layout, because there's one set that the triangles go that way, and then there's another set where they go that way. And the design is fabulous because it uses the same, these blocks would go next to each other. So if you can see on the border block here, this border block here, you've got the same fabrics, one at the top, one at the bottom, and they go next to each other. But one's facing one way and one's facing the other. So when you put the next block in, it's going to have the same two fabrics, but you get this little 4-patch design going on here, and you get a little crisscross pattern there. So you really do have to pay attention to the placement of the fabrics. The making of the blocks and the units, easy. Won't take you much time at all. But the actual placement of the fabrics and where everything goes together, that's what will take your time. And you just need to be, as I said, I worked quite methodically, took my time with my cutting and worked out which block went with which, kept everything labelled. You can see I've got little stickers on everything. I've got stickers on the middle block. I've got stickers on this bit. I got them everywhere because it would be very easy. And I don't think it would cause a big problem.
No.
But if you're like me and you like everything to be exactly
Just
as it should be, you'll get upset when it's not in the right place.
There'll be some unpleasant words said, Jane.
The quilt itself, the first row of border blocks here is repeated at the bottom. So for fabrics A, B, C, D, E through to F, you have to make double the amount of the border to go down here. And also for R, because R is repeated in its own block, but it's also put against the X block as well in the border bit. So I just went through the pattern, read it out. Now I'm going to show you a quicker way of making multiple half square triangles because there are a lot in this. But I'm going to show you, because the traditional way...
Hack. I love a Jane hack, Jane.
The traditional way is to make 2 squares, draw the diagonal line, so 1/4 inch either side, cut it through, you get 2 half square triangles, which is great.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show a way of making 8 in one go. I have shown this method before, but I'm going to show it again. So what I found was, when I was working out what I needed for everything, was that once for these borders, you have 5 half square triangles of each colour in each border. So that's 10 half square triangles altogether, which is 5 squares.
Yeah.
Well, if you do the make 8 half square triangles in one go, that's 4 squares in effect.
Yeah.
So I made one of those and one lot of 2 7/8 inch squares. And I'm going to demonstrate exactly what I mean visually.
Jane, while you get your bits and bobs together and take a breath, I shall just let you know what our viewers have been saying, because I think that's important. Becky says, morning lovely ladies, I was just going to ask if you could use this fabric for lightweight trousers or waistcoats. It's gorgeous.
I think you could, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think you could.
It's
a traditional cotton, quilting cotton weight.
Yeah, if anything you can
it's
do
a
with
good
your
quality quilting cotton weight,
Yes.
you know. We do get some cottons that are slightly lighter, maybe a bit more loosely woven, but this is a nice weight and weave of cotton. Really good quality.
It is. Lynn says, greetings from down under. Also says, love the fabric. Nancy agrees. She says, gorgeous fabric. And then that there, Lisa Chandler says, good morning, everyone.
Hi, Lisa.
Good morning, Lisa.
We're excited to see
you. Around first thing on the show today. We said this time next week, Lisa Chandler's going to be on your screens, everybody. So that's very exciting, isn't it?
Isn't it? I'm very excited.
We're really looking forward to meeting you, Lisa, in person.
Yes.
Bonkers, isn't it?
It is.
Really bonkers.
It's lovely. I'm very excited.
It's all, you know, the last few years has been crazy and you get to know people but not actually ever meet them.
Yes.
So this is very exciting.
This is lovely.
Lisa will be over for Festival of Quilts and to come here
to this
launch
here
some new
studio
fabrics with Natasha, which is very, very exciting indeed.
It is exciting. I am going to demonstrate this block here, L. Okay. So for L, and I'm talking about the block itself plus the border, and I've always worked the border above because the border above is the same colour as the middle square.
I see this.
That's how my logical brain worked.
That makes sense. I'd say that's wise.
So for L, we need the middle square. All your measurements for everything are within the pattern. The pattern's great. It shows you exactly all your cutting instructions for each of the fabrics.
Great.
It gives you an easy way of making the block and the border block, and it tells you they're calling it a sashing. They've got one sashing unit A and sashing unit B, which is what I said about them going opposite directions. There's a very logical way of working with this. Once you've made the first couple of blocks, you'll really get into a rhythm with it. It's really lovely to make. You do get absorbed into it.
Okay.
Well, you said, didn't you? I was in my workroom and people were like, where's Jane? Where's Jane?
And
I was
surface. We were like, Jane, you really ought to take a comfort break or have something to eat or drink.
But we're all the same. When
we
we're making a project, we do get completely absorbed in it.
No, we totally do. Cynthia says that the quilt is capital letters beautiful.
It is.
She also says it's going to be very hot there in southwest Ohio in the 90s, 30s. greasy.
Oh my
Crikey
gosh.
bobs. And Daryl says, yes, I love
But am I
that.
right in thinking that the winters are cold in Ohio? Am I in the right
Yeah,
area?
tell us.
Is
Tell
it
us,
North?
Cynthia.
Is it North America? Or is it in the,
Windows and-
yeah.
Tell us, please. Our geography is atrocious as well,
Yeah,
by the way,
we
so
are.
don't be offended, anybody. And Daryl says, yeah, she loves the texture on the fabric. The texture makes all the difference. If you
It's
made this
very
quilt in
difficult
plains,
to see on camera.
if you made
We've
the texture
done-
in plains, it would not be the same.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be very
At all.
flat. It would look flat if it was done in plains.
That's what's great about these fabrics.
These fabrics give it the texture, give it the warmth, give it that oldie worldy feel, like a traditional quilt, but with a modern twist. The colours are modern.
Yeah.
They've got a modern
Yeah.
feel to them. The pattern, as I said, it's a traditional pattern patchwork block that's been around for a long time. But again, it's got like a modern, almost like an Aztec-y feel to it.
I really love the fabrics, Jane, to have in my stash for applique projects as well. If you were making
Yeah.
your Halloween projects, for example.
Oh gosh,
to
those
have
autumnal
all of
colours.
these colours for
Yeah.
your pumpkins.
All of
or your
these tones
leaves or-
here.
Yeah, and your Christmas makes as well. You'd
Yeah.
have, say, this one here,
Yeah, that
and
rich
the
red and those
greens
lovely greens. All these
They'd
greens
be
and olives
amazing.
behind you
Yeah.
with those reds there.
Your calendar quilt block that's coming up for December, you
Yeah.
know, that would be beautiful in
It
these.
would, yeah.
Keep it in mind, everybody.
It would.
Pop it in the
We get
stash
very
for
excited about the
later.
fabrics, can you tell?
We do, sorry.
Right, so
Sorry, not sorry, Jane, eh?
middle block, slightly larger. Now to make my half square triangles, Renee talked about the fact that you can do them at 3 inches and cut them down, trim them down, which some people like to do. They like to make them slightly bigger and trim them down. That's fine. And you'll have enough fabric to do that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of half square triangles in it, and that's a lot of trimming. Just saying.
You might like that.
You might like it,
In
you
which
might the
case,
precision
crack
of
on,
it, and you
enjoy,
might like
yeah.
to make it in batches and do it as you want. That's fine. I like to get things made quickly because
Yes.
part of it is part of my job, and the other part is I just like getting it done quickly because I like making it. So I use the 2 7/8 measurement for these because they're all finished at 2.5 inch squares. So for 2.5 inch finished half square triangles, you always add 7/8 of an inch to your finished size. So 2.5 will be a 2 inch finished square.
Yeah.
So 2 7/8. You cut your 2 squares at that size, diagonal line, so 1/4 inch either side, makes 2 half square triangles. To make 8, which is in effect 4 squares, you just double that measurement. So 2 times 2 7/8 is 5 3/4,
Excellent.
which is a slightly easier measurement to see on your
Yeah.
ruler.
Well, I was going to say, Jane, because cutting
'Cause-
2 7/8, that proper confused me to start with.
Yeah.
The creative grids are your friend here.
They're amazing. The creative grids are, and I don't know if we can, if I go, I've got a blank piece of paper, yes I have. If I go close up with this, with the ruler,
Yes, please. That'd be marvellous.
I can hopefully sort of show you. There we go. Let's come down and go across this way.
To
That's
me,
it.
to you, to me, to you.
Your Creative Grids ruler, they've got the 1/2 inch already added on to them. But if we go this side here,
Yeah.
without the 1/2 inch added, there we are. You can see on the ruler, it's an inch square, which is easily seen.
Yeah.
It's got the 1/2 inch mark, which is slightly larger, and then it's got the 1/4 inch mark, which is slightly smaller than the 1/2 inch mark, and then between those is the 1/8 mark. Now what I always say is, if you're going to do 7/8 of something, that's nearly the full inch. So when visually looking at it, you would go down to the 3, and then you come back up 1 notch, and that's your 7/8.
Okay.
So it's quite an easy, visually,
Yeah.
once you get used to it,
Yeah.
it's quite easy. For those of us that are used to inches and 6, 7/8 and stuff like that, it's not too difficult. But for the more modern people amongst
Us
you
metric types.
that are all metric and don't quite understand inches, that visual is
Yeah.
quite a good way of learning it. So
Correct.
whatever your 7/8 is, whether you're going to be making bigger squares or whatever,
Yeah.
you go to the next inch and then you just come back 1/8, 1 mark on your ruler, just there. bump
Thanks,
up
Jane.
to there.
Lovely.
So it's quite easy to see. The other beautiful thing you've got with the Creative Grids ruler is you've got your 45-degree line. So once you've made your half square triangles and you want to square them up or make sure they are the right size, you can place that 45-degree line along the seam of your half square triangle. So if I just get one that I've already made,
find out whether you've stitched them all wonky woo.
this will be, you can see it's probably the wrong shading of fabric because they're quite similar colours,
aren't they?
but I can put the line I have made actually. I've got a different colour one here.
Brilliant.
That's a different colour. So I can put that up in this corner here.
Down a bit, Jane.
There we go. Obviously I'd be doing this on the table and it would be easier to line it up.
I mean, I could push you in overhead.
There we
Make it a
go.
lot easier.
But you can see I can put that 45-degree line on there and make sure it's the right size for what I want it finished. And the beauty of that frosted half square, half-inch mark that you've got.
So we can see it there.
You can see that. You can put that on there and I can make sure that that fits into the 2.5-inch square on there. So this ruler is just, everything's on here that you need.
Yes, we are sold out of those rulers at the moment. If you do want a Creative Grids ruler, now that's Jane's little one. There's a longer one.
Yeah.
Which is same but different. Same but added length. I say Natasha likes the big one.
Yeah.
She also loves the Big Easy, which is the really big one.
Which is a lovely one because that's like, what is it, 12.5?
Yeah.
You can also get the squares.
Yes.
So they're really good as well because they're visually.
We need to speak to
got your
Creative Grids
squares
about what stock they have available for us. But if any of these are something that you are looking to invest in, then please do let us know. info@natashamakes.com and we will see what stock we can source on your behalf.
So, going back to all these half square triangles that will take you a whizzy time to do if you use this method. For the borders, sashing, let's call it sashing like they do in the pattern, make life easy for everybody. So, as I said, you're going to make 5 for one piece of sashing and then the other piece that comes across like so. It's like the reverse, if you like. You're going to have 5 there and 5 there. So you want 10 altogether. So that would in effect be 5 squares of the combination. So this is fabric A. So that's fabric A and fabric X. This is something else they've done which I found really helpful, is they give you a chart on the back with all the fabrics. They only give you the code number, unfortunately, but you can. The colouring is quite good to match it. It's very comprehensive. But they've given them a letter. It doesn't match the letter of the colour because there's several letters that are the same. Like there's B1, B2, B3. But if you mark all of your fabrics, and it gives you the size of the fabric as well, so that helps you work it out with the letters on, because then the letters correspond on the pattern. So again, lots of sticky labels, pins with bits of paper, whatever is the easiest method for you to use. So this is A and B. So A, you've got 5 there and 5 there, and then B, you've got them at the top and the bottom, and then C and D are the same, and so on and so on. So for each colour, you're going to need, apart from A, B, C, D, E, F and R, you're going to need 1 5 3/4 inch square and 1 2 7/8 inch square. So half square triangles, fairly straightforward. For the little squares, just mark your line along the diagonal from corner to corner. Now when I mark a diagonal on fabric, I always go from the middle out to the corner on both sides, just because you're working on a biased edge and you might stretch your fabric. I'm using one of the iron off markers, but you can use a pencil, fabric marker, whatever, because you're actually going to cut on this line, so whatever you use is going to disappear anyway.
Oh, that's good.
For the larger square, you're going to mark both diagonals. So you're going to end up with a crisscross along the middle. And the same again, just working from the middle out to the corners. I would best press all your fabric starch, best press, flatter, whichever one you use, because you are going to be working with quite a lot of biased edges. So to have that little bit of stability on your fabric is really going to help. And then for that, you're going to sew 1/4 inch either side of your marked line. And it's just a straightforward, with the squares, it's a straightforward, go down one side, stop, lift your foot, give it a tug, and then go down the other side. That little loop of thread, you're going to cut it through when you put your half square triangle anyway. So that's not going to cause any problem for you. Oh, hasn't sewn. Unless, except when it comes out of the
How is it not threaded?
Thread. And then you go, put your glasses on, Jane. It does
It's always
help.
the way, isn't it? Yeah, get your specs on, Jane.
It helps.
Get your teeth in and your specs on.
Oh gosh. I need some scissors to snip
Do you
the
need
edge.
me?
Have we got some snips?
I've got those there, good eyes.
There we go. A little snip
While
there.
Jane is doing that, I'm just going to wave a little friend around. Jane.
Oh yeah. Oh, we loved him. I hadn't seen Natasha doing the recording for that.
No.
And I came in to set up the studio for today and I was just like, oh my God, he's gorgeous. I need him in my life.
This here is our sheepy treat. Now, on Friday this week, we have a Friday show. I said earlier we broadcast on a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday from 10. We do.
We do?
However, once a month on a Friday we do have a Pay It Forward show. This was what was launched last month, so this is what Tash will be demonstrating for you on Friday. And she'll be launching the next Pay It Forward as well.
Wonderful.
Yes, I think he can have a little seat just here.
So the squares, right sides together, diagonal line, 1/4 inch either side, and then it's a simple case of cutting along that diagonal line. So you end up with 2 half square triangles, and we're going to press those. Now I would recommend that you press them towards the charcoal fabric X on your pattern, on all of them. This is going to help in the long term when you're coming to put them together because the seams will nestle. We can just give those a finger press, but be careful, you just saw then as I was finger pressing that how it stretched it. It's a biased edge, so just take care. And when you are pressing it, you literally are pressing it.
Yes.
So that gives you 2 half square triangles. That's a nice quick way of doing it. This gives you even more triangles even quicker. So we've done our diagonal, through both diagonals there with our fabric marker, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch either side of those diagonal lines.
Marvellous.
And again, we'll go up one side, give it a little tug, and then go straight down the other side. And then we do exactly the same on the other diagonal. Down one side. Oh, I've cut that one. Never mind, automatic pilot. And then down the other side. If you've got a 1/4 inch foot on your machine that has that little metal guide on it,
Yes.
you can't actually do this method with it because
okay.
it gets in the way.
Yeah,
So
yeah, of course.
you might have to cut your triangles first. But my machine, the UX, my machine at home and this machine, they've got the 1/4 inch foot is a flat foot.
Mm-hmm.
The UX and my machine at home, I can just move the needle across to 1/4 inch, which is a lovely thing to have. Right, so now we're going to cut this into 4. Now if you've got your rotating cutting mat, this will make life loads easier, because we are going to cut it down the middle into quarters to make 4 squares. Now, as I said before, 2 2 7/8 squares are 5 3/4. So now we're going to measure 2 7/8 from that edge to the middle, because that should be where the middle is of the square. So we cut it along the horizontal, vertical, and then the horizontal. Now, you can do this flat on a mat like that. I don't actually like very much not cutting away from myself.
Yeah.
I would happily cut across like that, but I would have to change my body position and stand to the side and cut from here across.
Don't ask Jane how she does watching Sewing Bee.
Conniptions. But with a rotating cutting mat,
Wiggling away,
oh my
all
gosh,
the wavy lines with no ruler. It's not good for
I can
Jane.
rotate the mat and stand in my normal position. Again, 2 7/8 and cut across there. So now I've cut that into 4 squares, like so. And we can cut through that drawn line anyway. But if you keep it together before you pull it apart, you can just cut through the diagonal as well. So again, your rotating cutting mat is your friend, because you can rotate it, line your ruler up with that drawn line, cut through there, rotate it again. It's always safest to cut away from yourself. So your rotating cutting mat is ideal for this.
I love my rotating cutting mat.
It's just one of those things that once you've got one, you'll wonder why you never had it. So there you are, you see. I've just made 8 half square triangles in minutes.
Fantastic.
It's a much quicker method. I've got all of the 10 that I need for each colour. And it just makes life quicker. So again, we'll press all of those. I'll give them a proper press in a moment. We'll press all of them at the same time. You've got all of your half square triangles that you need there, and they didn't take very long at all. Now for the border around the centre square, you actually need 12 half square triangles, 3 on each side. So I made an 8, I was going to say an 8-inch square then, that's not what I mean. I mean an 8 half square triangle square, same size, 5 3/4 inches, and 2 lots of squares. And I'll just show you that so you can see visually what I mean. So for the border fabric for this one, we're doing block L here. We needed fabric V and fabric R, which are this lovely deep colour. R is called, what's the name of the fabric? R is walnut, and V is fossil. Gorgeous colours. They're lovely names as well. I think the names are really nice. So we've got one of our large squares, which will give us 8 half square triangles, and then we've got 2 and 2, which will give us the 12. So for each one of the coloured fabrics, you'd need those for your borders.
Fabulous.
Which I think, just as I said, I found it easier to work methodically through, working out which ones are needed for which block and putting those all together. You can see I've got all sorts of scribbled notes on here, but you can see I worked out which fabrics are needed to have with what, and just, you know, you've got a pattern like this, you can you can make notes and all sorts of things on it, anything that helps you work it out. And again, we're just going to do the 2 diagonal lines, putting them right sides together. middle out to the corners, both diagonals on this, on the larger square. And just the one through the small square, from corner to corner. If you're left-handed, you're likely to do your diagonal that way, but that doesn't matter because with half square triangles it doesn't matter because they're always going to come out the same way.
Great. And you're working consistently throughout
Yes.
the project as well. So.
This is it. So again, just 1/4 inch either side of those lines. Let's give it a tug and just go down the other side. And then the same on the other diagonal.
Martin loves the sheep that Pat's
It's gorgeous.
made. Yeah. And Lo's arrived late. Says morning late because work got in the way.
Oh
Sorry
dear.
about that, Lo. If you're wondering what the sheep is, it's behind me. You'll see it in a bit. Friday show, sheepy sheep. Jane Cynthia says Ohio is separated from Canada by Great Lakes. So yes, we get very cold winters here in southwest Ohio, but not as bad as northern Ohio.
Oh gosh.
There you go.
So a nice warm quilt. I bet there's lots of quilts up in Ohio.
Oh,
I've been watching
beautiful.
the programme Yellowstone,
Oh, okay.
and there's lots of quilts in there. And in fact, there's been a big following recently on on the quilt groups I follow. They've all been making the best Dutton quilt, which is a nice quilt to make. So you would do that with all your squares. I've already made 2 of my half square triangles for this colourway, just to save some time. And then, as I say, we can, the rotating cutting mat just makes life so much easier.
I do
And
have that loaded
safer.
on our website. I've put a little discount on those today because it is such an asset. And once you've got one, you've got one.
I am using my ruler to cut my fabric, so I'm not too worried about whether it's straight on the mat, but I mean you can use the mat for to line your ruler up with. But I tend to cut using my ruler as a measurement. What I would say to you, whichever way you do it, keep it consistent. So if you use your mat for your measuring, always use your mat. And if you use your ruler for your measuring, always use your ruler. It's a bit like the difference of making a cake with grams and ounces. Just subtle differences, but keep it consistent. I think it's time for a new blade on my rotary cutter. I've done a lot of cutting with this one.
Wow.
Right, so we'll get those pressed and then we can start constructing the blocks.
Great.
Did I put the iron on?
I've done it.
You're amazing, thank you.
I eyed it up at the start, but hang on.
So, as I say, when you're pressing half square triangles, just set your seam, press it down flat. That just sort of embeds your stitching into the fabric, and then I use the point of my iron just to make sure that it's pushed away as far as it will go, and then I literally just hold the iron over the seam to press it.
Jiggling.
No wriggling and jiggling because I don't want to stretch my fabric. I don't cut the ears off from my half square triangles. I like to have them on because they act as markers for me, which I will explain about in as we go on through the pattern. But I do know that some people like to trim them off, and at this point that's fine. And again, your ruler is your friend for doing that, because you can use that 45-degree line to make sure that you're right and squaring them off at the same time. And this is the sort of quilt that's going to take you a few days to make. It's not a quick weekend make. So you might...
It's not a bish bash bosh quilt.
No, you might just want to do it in segments. You might want to do a couple of blocks at a time, or you might want to make all your half square triangles and then put them into wallets or pouches together with the fabrics that you're then going to make your block with. You can have, it's one of those projects that you can just keep doing a little bit of and keep going back to.
But Jane, it's not one that's going to take you forever.
It isn't.
Put this in perspective.
No.
You picked your kit up, was it a week ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this time last week, Jane got a kit. She spent a couple of days on it at home. And then she's been in the office this week. She has a full-time job. And has still managed to get that quilt top done. So this is not...
Yeah, I was going to say...
take you years to complete.
No, it's not. It's just that sometimes we think, oh yeah, I'll just, I'll spend Sunday sewing this.
Out on a day. Yeah, just one day, done. Perhaps not with this one.
Maybe not with this one, no.
I tend to have a project going that's a pick up and put down project.
Yeah.
And then in between, I might do it. I've got to complete something today. I've got to make something.
A little quick make, yeah.
So I'll do a quick make, but I do generally have something on the go that takes a bit longer.
Yeah. So we've got our large square, our large centre square. Now, you just need to, again, just check with your main pattern the orientation of the half square triangles on your block, because you're going to use several of the fabrics several times, and so you might think, oh yeah, I know this one, and then when you look at it, it's actually the other way around. So with this one, it's the walnut, that goes against the square. So we just make sure that we've got those all facing the same way. We go with them on the left-hand side at the top of the square, and then as we come down, there's a little pattern forming here. So they go against the square, but they're facing the opposite direction.
Okay.
And as I say, you just keep looking at your pattern just for reference so that you know. And then we go, so the opposite sides face the opposite way. So on one corner you get the two dark colours coming together, and on the other corner you get your two pale colours coming together. And this is a good reference point for putting the blocks out when you come to put them out. Now you're also going to need your corner squares. Now consistently you have 2x charcoal that go in the corners. That happens on every single block, whichever colourway is in the middle or on the borders, that's always going to happen. So those X squares are there, charcoal. And then your outer colour is the other squares, and they go in the opposite corners. Now the way I remember it is,
look at that.
You don't want to have your outer triangle fabric against your fabric. So it's always to remember, if you've got that going on, that's not right.
You shouldn't have it next to its matching
It's not the end of the world, but you've got a different design.
Different block altogether, yeah.
It's just to highlight the shape on that quilt.
I see it.
And all of those blocks are done the same way. So what you'll do is you'll join these three together, and you're always putting the dark against the light on the triangle. I always put all my block out, put the fabrics around it, and then sewed each block individually. I tried to do it in a batch by just sewing them all together, but then I got myself hopelessly lost, and I spent more time on picking. So I thought
it only takes for someone to speak to you, or for
the phone to ring for you to walk away, someone come with a delivery, and you come back and you've forgotten where you were. Now I pressed my darker half under, so that I don't know if we can see, if I can go close up, Gemma.
Yeah, of course.
On my triangles here, if I bring it up and across there, I've got here, that seam coming down there and across there, so I've got like a little V shape here.
Sure. Yeah.
So if I press that with the dark seam going underneath,
you, doesn't it?
when I come to place that on there to sew it,
Hang on.
sorry,
It's all right.
I've got this little marker here to make sure that I don't lose the point of my triangle.
But also, I suppose, if you try to press it the other way, there's a lot of fabric there, isn't it? And
it doesn't always want to go that way, but I found that was the easiest way of doing it for me. So that's one side done, and then we'll do the opposite side. It's usually, you know, we do press towards the dark side, don't we, anyway? So
we do.
Just always checking that you've got your half square triangle going in the right direction. It's very easy to pick it up, and as you take it to the sewing machine, it turns itself around. You can, of course, pin these. Give yourself that little bit more accuracy with your piecing. And so that one will go there. We can sew these three together. That one. I think working methodically is the key with this pattern. Or, you know, it's a straightforward one. It's just making sure that you've got everything in the right place, colour-wise.
Yeah. Just lay it out.
Yeah, and as I say, once you've done that first row, I think you really do get into a rhythm with it.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense. But the first few times you were still a little bit, well, I was just like, oh, I just need to double check this, make sure that's in the right place.
You need to pay attention. Don't
Yeah.
talk to me anyone.
Yeah,
don't talk to me.
Don't
Go away.
Couldn't watch a film while you were making it.
You know, there are those projects, aren't there, where you're happy to have someone sat at the table gabbing away to
Yeah.
you. And then there's times where you're piecing and you're like,
No,
actually,
you can't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Leave me alone. Quite like those projects, Jane. But there's part of what it's about, isn't it?
It is. It's because it becomes mindful.
Yes, exactly.
You just go into a rhythm.
Yes.
Your mind clears and you relax.
Yes.
And sometimes having a monotonous task is the ideal project.
Yeah.
Monotonous is a wrong word, really, but one that has a rhythm to it, that you're doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm going to join those two to the side.
Yeah.
So this one to here.
Onto that centre block.
Onto the centre square. And as I say, I've got this X marks the spot so I can be sure that I don't miss the points, if you like. Take the points out of my, and again you can take your time and pin it. And I'm going to sew the other strip onto the other side, and again just making sure I've got it the right way round, because it'd be very easy to pick it up and put it like that,
Really
but we want the dark against the coloured square in the middle.
Jane. Cynthia says she's making Beth's quilt from the TV series Yellowstone.
Yes.
She's making it.
It's a 4-patch on point, it's gorgeous. But I've also gone back and watched 1923 and 1889. So the first one, 1889, is when the family start as pioneers going across to the North America. They're going to Montana.
Yeah.
And their adventures and misadventures. And then the second series is like 1923, and it's really lovely to watch.
Okay.
Because you spend a lot of time as a quilter looking at the background at what's on the bed and what's hanging on the walls.
Very serious messages coming across, but look at that quilt.
Yeah. And it's 1923, and they're still like cowboys, they're ranchers.
Yeah.
But they go into town and they're having electricity, and he's showing them how the refrigerator works and the washing machine and all things like that. And the blokes are all like, well, why would you need that? And the women are going, oh my God, that gives you so much more free time.
They're not that bothered about
Yeah,
the free time.
Exactly.
I think all the dinners will get
I'm just going to press that because I just not pressed that quite.
All right.
So I'm pressing the seam towards the centre square just because there's less fabric there and it likes to lie flatter.
Makes sense.
And now I'm going to add the corners onto those strips there that are going to go top and bottom. Again, just making sure I've got everything in the right place. As I say, I want to have the black, the charcoal against the light there, and the light one, which is the background, the top of the triangles, against the darker triangle there.
Karen says, and there we have it. Cake's been mentioned. You did well though. It's 11:10. I don't even remember mentioning cake. This is the problem now.
We just talk about it.
Oh no! How have I mentioned cake and not even known? When did we say cake? Oh, Jane.
Can't remember. We do.
I
just
tell
talk
you what
about
though,
it.
I went to this cafe yesterday to get my lunch, and I got a turkey salad sandwich. Very virtuous. Green salad, turkey. Come back. Was doing some stuff in Tasha's studio. Went back into the other room, and there was a box on my desk, Jane, wasn't there?
There was.
Pray tell, what was in the box, Jane?
Could have been lemon drizzle cake,
Could have
Gemma.
been the biggest lump of lemon drizzle cake known to man. Couldn't
They
it?
just got 3 pieces left in the cafe when I went for my lunch, and I was like, it's a bit of a, not fraught's the wrong word, but it was a busy day yesterday, getting everything prepared and everything. I thought, I bet Gemma would just love a piece of
Gemma would love a
cake.
bit of lemon drizzle cake. Yes, of course Gemma would love a bit of lemon drizzle cake. But I don't think Gemma's clothes.
No, we're all the same. We're all like
Okay.
talking about how we really need to do something about our excess weight and how we're not really feeling very comfortable in our clothes.
Yep.
And at the same time, eating
cake.
cake. We start off the morning going, yes, I really must do something about my weight. And then by the afternoon, we're like, oh, cake.
Yeah, sugar low, exhaustion, the whole shebang.
So I press the seams of those corner squares towards the square. And because I've pressed that seam in,
Yes.
when I come to put these on, that nestles quite
Click,
nicely,
click.
thank you very much.
Nice.
And I've still got this little X marks the spot here. So I've got all these markers to help me. And again, if you want
Get your
to,
pins
you
on
can
again.
pop your pin in along the seam just to hold it in place while you take it to the machine. You
Well-
may want to press it before you start putting it on. Again, you've got your own way of working, and
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong way as long as it all comes together.
Correct. Daryl says I have to pin the side I'm going to sew, or I'd sew it wrong, and then I'm having to do a lot of reverse stitching.
Yeah,
This is so true for a lot of people, and that's absolutely fine. You do what works for you.
yeah.
Lorraine very helpfully tells me that chrysanthemums only flower in autumn, not summer. They're used in November in France for memorials. Now, you say this.
Oh yeah, I always think
However-
of chrysanthemums as being an autumnal flower.
I got this plant. I mean, it's an indoor one. I got it in at their Waitrose actually in February. I know exactly when I got it in February. It was February the 18th. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I remember that date. But I did. I got it in February, and it was in full beautiful bloom at that point. And now it is not. It is not even threatening to flower. Every now and again, actually, it produces some little buds, and then they don't actually open. They just sort of wither.
Maybe
Very
it
frustrating.
maybe it needs a
some
feed.
food.
I was going to say
Yeah.
maybe it needs
But
feeding.
what food do I get it? Please help me, people. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
There'll be a gardener out there that'll know exactly what you need. I used to have a customer that she grew chrysanthemums, like award-winning chrysanthemums. You know, the ones that they take to the shows that are huge, as big as a
Yes.
baby's head. And
Well, this is a lovely, amazing, you know, well, they call it a British chrysanthemum. It's not though. It's got the spindly, like
Yeah.
a Japanese chrysanthemum. Stunning.
and she used autumn, September time. She'd always bring me a bunch of these beautiful chrysanthemums.
Okay, maybe I need to be patient, Jane.
It is
Maybe
it is
I
an
do.
autumn flower. So we're going to press that so that the seam goes towards the middle of the centre square,
Yes.
and that likes to sit quite nicely then.
Beautiful. Look at that block.
And you can see that's come together,
So
that block,
effective.
quite quickly. You know,
It's a nice block, isn't it?
it is. It's gorgeous. There's beautiful colours and everything.
I like this one. If you've got a feature fabric, just as a block in general,
Yeah,
you've got a
it shows off.
fabric, you can
You
put in
know,
that centre square.
those beautiful Japanese chrysanthemums, centre block
You get your
there.
half-metre heavens.
Yeah.
And you've got your plain to go with, and then you've got other plains that you know are going to work.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, nice
Fabulous.
feature fabric, your corresponding plain, and then like a pale cream or
Yeah.
something like that on the back.
Nice. Lo says that she really wishes she liked making quilts. She's got so many that are half done, and now she's just, I think she's fallen out of love with making quilts,
Oh.
Jane. She wonders how it's happened. She used to love making them, now she doesn't. I think sometimes
I
lose
go
your
through
mojo for a
phases.
bit.
We go through phases, we do. And
You're not allowed
sometimes,
to fall out of love with making quilts. You have to crack on,
fortunately,
love.
I don't. But we do. And sometimes you just need to make a couple of quick projects.
Yeah.
Something that's going to take you not even half a day.
Yeah.
Just to get yourself back into the
It can be
creativity.
overfacing.
Yeah.
It can be overfacing, can't it?
Absolutely.
I am someone, and this is why I like sewing rather than knitting, for example.
Yeah.
I like to see a finished item.
Yeah, instant.
And that's why if I've got a long-term project on the go, you know, that, like, I do have a monotonous quilt. It's
Yeah.
just very much repetitive. But I can't just do that.
No.
Because I just feel like it was going on forever and I was never making a finished thing, which is where Natasha's makes come in with a little quick make.
Yeah, they're
Or
absolutely
cushions
perfect.
with the instructions that I've had from you, and I can just quickly crack on and get something made and go, oh look, I made a thing, and then work on the long term stuff again. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, though, I get it. It can be really like, oh, is there no end?
Yeah.
Am I not making a finished thing? And I
It does.
understand
It
that
does.
too.
It does set you off. While Gemma's talking, I'm just laying out my half square triangles that I made with the colour that matched the centre square. And
Look
this
at
is
that.
what I say about just looking at your pattern and laying it out,
Yeah.
because it's very easy to get them the wrong way round.
Yeah. Just pay attention, and all will be well.
You see, I've done that. I have done that the wrong way round. It is very easy.
Well, you're gabbing as well. Funnily enough, Karen says that she's knitting socks at the moment, and that requires quite a bit of counting, and Alan keeps asking her things at the wrong time. Doesn't understand the art of knitting. My mum does something I call aggressive counting. So she'll be there crocheting, and my dad will start speaking, and she'll go 6, 7, 8, 9. He just knows, like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
no.
counting, don't talk
She
to
just
me.
gets loud.
Yes.
She's so quiet, my mum.
Yes, she is.
That you just know. Shut up, Les.
So you can see, again, a pattern starts to form and you get into a rhythm with the sashing block that I've been calling it a border, but it's a sashing block. You've got your strip of fabric, which is the same as your centre block. You've got your half square triangles with your charcoal and your colour. And again, these sashing blocks consistently charcoal and colour. You don't have to worry about which background goes with which. So that's another consistency that, you know, you get into a rhythm with that. You get your colour that matches your centre block. Your half square triangles of that colour goes against that. Now, this is where one will go one way and one will go the other. So this is colour L on here.
Yeah.
Which is the teal, I think. Ocean. And then that will have the K on this side of it, because it goes alphabetically. So it'll have K on this side. So the K fabric and the L fabric are together, but in opposite directions.
Yeah.
On the sashing strip. So again, just lay it out so you can see it. Check it with your pattern. It's much better to keep laying it out, checking it, than to think, oh yeah, I know I'm going, slam it together, and then you get it and you're like, oh, that's the wrong way round. And that's a lot of seams to unpick.
That is.
Ask me how I know.
Oh, shame. She was in a hurry, bless you. Because you've managed to pull this together in a very short space of time. I'm quite impressed. The instructions are brilliant though. You've got that full colour guide.
It really does help having this, because it's a really good visual.
Yes.
It would be very difficult to put how you put this together in words.
Yeah.
Because there's so many variations.
It's not a complicated thing.
It's not.
It's just trying to explain the same but different constantly.
Yes.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. And the different colour combinations, but it's very easy to see it with the visual pattern. It's a lovely pattern to work through. I think the key element of this is to be, you know, methodical with your cutting and your piecing. So I'm cutting these into I'm sewing these into pairs. I'm pressing it towards the darker charcoal fabric, and then I'm putting the pairs together, just to making sure I've still got them facing all the right way. And I'm pressing it towards the seam, towards the dark side, so I've got my ears sticking up. And this is where I say, having those ears sticking up, I know that if the ear is sticking up, I've got that X marks the spot on my seam here.
Great.
For when I come to join it. And then I'll add that last one on. And again, the sort of rule of thumb, if you like, with the pattern, with the sashing, is you've got your charcoal against your coloured strip.
Yeah.
And then you've got your charcoal against your coloured half square triangle. Opposite directions on different ones, but that part is always consistent.
Yes.
So because I've pressed those seams that way and those seams that way,
yeah,
when I come to put them together, they'll lock in. Now you can see on this side, I don't have that X marks the spot.
Okay.
But on the opposite side, I do. So I will turn it over, and then I'll pin it just to hold it together and make sure those seams lock in.
Brilliant. Jane, we do only have a handful of kits left. So
have they all gone? Gosh, I know we didn't have many, did we, to store? Because
no, and this is the thing.
There's so much fabric
really
in them.
Limited because there's so much fabric in them. We do, like I say, only have a handful left. So if you've got one in your basket right now, and this is not a pushy sales moment, Jane, at all.
No.
But I think sometimes people think if they put it in their basket, it's reserved for them.
Yeah, it isn't, unfortunately.
Check out, then unfortunately that stock isn't reserved for you. So it may be that more people have it in their baskets than we actually have kits at the moment, and it will go to whoever checks out their order first. We won't be able to create more, unfortunately.
You've also got on this, because you've pressed all our seams towards the charcoal X fabric on the pattern, we've also got this where the seams lock into each other.
Yeah.
So while you're pinning, you can also feel
that's great, isn't it?
Underneath that all locks in.
Because there are those blocks where it's almost guesswork.
Yeah.
These,
they give you you know, there's like a consistency to the pattern, and it just, the pressing and everything like that. They don't tell you this in the pattern, but these little hints and tips I've given you hopefully will make it, you know, help to making it a little bit easier for you.
oh dear, you know how we say you've got to concentrate on what you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, Julia says I've just overlocked the wrong bits together, paying too much attention to Jane.
I'm sorry.
Overlocking
Oh my gosh.
is something else.
Yes,
You
I can
have
imagine.
our sympathy.
And my apologies,
Certainly do.
Julia. I'm sorry.
For being so captivating.
Distracting you from what you were doing.
Sorry, not sorry. Because
Yeah.
it is a fabulous quilt. We can understand why you're distracted.
And so we're going to press that open now,
Oh, look.
just towards the dark side. I used a dark grey when I was doing my pieces on my quilt, because you can see here I've used a light thread and you can just see it. But that happens sometimes.
What Jane's actually doing here is she's making herself a nice cushion front
Yes, exactly.
to go with her quilt.
So now I'm going to sew that to there. And as I said to you before, because I've pressed those seams that way, I've got that, you can see the X. Some of those have twisted in the process, and that happens sometimes.
Excellent.
But
Oh, Daryl says, I have several quilt tops that need finishing and I'm planning to do one, then make something else like a bag to give myself a break. That is exactly what
I think that really does
we do.
help.
Yes.
It really does help. Just a little project, just a little quick make that sort of gives you a sense of satisfaction.
Yeah, or one that can be, batch made as well.
Yeah.
There's quite a few of Natasha's makes now that you can batch make.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
produce multiple of something. Have a little pile of finished projects and go, look at that, and then it doesn't seem so overfacing to sit piecing blocks together.
No.
Making progress but not really being able to see a finished item.
So now I can press that along this seam here. Just give that the seam there. And again, because we've got all of these seams here, we're just going to press that towards the plain piece there.
Lovely.
And so once you've got all of these pieces made and all your blocks made, I found it easier to sew my block to my sashing strip and then sew them together to make a wider strip. Rather than sewing all the blocks and row of all the sashing.
Okay, yeah.
I just felt it was easier to manage because there's quite a bit of seam matching.
Yeah.
And again, you'll probably find that you've got seams going one way and the other way, and hopefully they'll lock in. Sometimes they don't, and you'd have to use your pins. And again, we haven't got that sort of X marks a spot going on here. So what I will do is I will take my pin and I will poke it through where the top of that point is on the triangle. Should we go close up on that?
Yeah, let's do that.
If I poke it,
How that looks.
where am I coming here? Up a bit, forward a bit so it's not blurry. There we go, focus. There we are. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I think so.
If I push it that way, there you are, you can see the pin.
There we are.
So I've just popped that pin in that way. There we go. You have to go back to front when you're doing
it. Yeah.
Just at the top of the point in the seam. So I've got that one there, and then I'll take this seam here and I'll poke my pin in at the top of the point there.
Sure.
So I know that they're matched up, and give it a little dangle. Try and keep the pin straight, even if that means that your seams here are not level at the top.
That's okay.
It's much better. Hold still, Jane, let it focus. There we go. It's much better to have it a little bit out.
Yes.
And having your points together and not losing any of the tops of your points. So you can do that then, and you can see I've put the pin at an angle along the seam.
Yeah.
Because, you know, best practice, you'll take your pins out as you get to them. Sometimes your seams will lock and sometimes they won't. We've got them locking on this, but on that corner one it's not. But you haven't got that X marks the spot to look at when you're sewing. So just taking your time to just match up your points will give you a better finish. And you won't be disappointed that you've sewn all the points of your triangles across and ended up with flat points. Because although we quite often lose the point here at Natasha Makes, we don't want to do it with our patchwork.
Not on our quilts, we don't. Not on our quilts, none of that. Might lose the point when we're talking.
So now when I'm sewing, I can aim towards where the pin is in the fabric, knowing that that pin is pushed in at the top of my point.
Sure.
So I just want to sew just, on the, between the pin and the seam, but just aiming towards the pin really.
Great. Then we have 2 quilt kits left, 2. So if you have got these in your basket, maybe you're shopping and looking for wadding, for backing, etc., or any other items that you might want to add to your basket because you want to get it all into one postage. I understand that completely. I would be the same. However, if you are absolutely desperate to have this quilt, check out, make your payment, and then go back onto the website and place a second order for the other bits and bobs. You can pop a note on your order in the notes box, or send us an email at info@natashamakes.com just asking us to combine the orders, and we will put them together.
Yep.
And if there's postage that's due back to you, we will refund that to you.
Yes.
Just so that you don't miss out.
So I'm just going to give that a press now. You've got lots of seams both sides, so it doesn't really matter which way you press it. I tend to find the fabric tells you which way it wants to go. But what I did do was I tried, not successfully in every case, but I tried to press opposite ways
Sure.
from the next block.
Okay.
So if that block
Great.
goes that way, I'll try and press the block that goes next to it the other way. Just again, because that helps when you're joining. Excuse me, I'm
alright.
leaning across with a hot iron. Probably not best health and safety method. Just so that you've got that when I come to join those, when I'm joining this to here, again, we've got lots of seam matching going on. If I've got that seam facing that way and that one facing that way, that's another point of reference for me to see where it locks in.
Perfect.
So you can see on this one, that will be against there, and you get that effect. You've got, they're sort of forming like arrowheads, so they go together on that one and then they go away on the next two. So it didn't take long, did it, to make that block?
No.
And I was looking at this when I was making the blocks and thinking, actually, you could make a nice cushion.
You could.
With two of the blocks, or you could put your other piece of sashing on this side and make like a pillow.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
You know, a pillow-shaped cushion,
because
that
top and bottom.
That matches in with those. And as I said, you've got that little bit of extra fabric that you can have a play with, and you could maybe make a long, like a bolster cushion type effect.
Yeah, really nice.
I think it's a lovely block.
You can make a bed runner, you know, if you want to have the quilt
just
for
do
yourself and do a bed runner for somebody else.
You could just make, you know, that one section. If we went from on the quilt here, if we just did that from there to there as a bed runner across the bottom of your quilt, it would look rather stunning. Or even on the back of your sofa, so that in the evenings you've just got it like a shawl to bring around your neck.
Really nice, with table runner as well.
Yeah.
You've got options here, haven't you?
It's a really versatile block. Really is a versatile block, and you can have lots of fun making lots of different things with it.
And you've enjoyed it.
I have.
Which is great. And you've enjoyed it too, I can see this, because these quilt kits are out the door.
That's good.
Out the door. We've got one left in stock on the website, so if it is in your basket and you desperately want it, then I would check that out immediately, if not sooner.
Yes.
If you miss out on this, maybe you're watching the show back this afternoon and you're repentant and remorseful about the fact that you didn't get hold of a quilt kit. We can't promise anything. We're pretty sure we've got the quantities right, but pop us an email, info@natashamakes.com, because if for whatever reason when we cut the kits we can create one last little squeaky one, we can send you a custom invoice for that. If you are the first person on the list.
Yes.
Best to pop a phone number on there as well, though, on your email.
Yeah. It's always good to have a phone number on your account, because sometimes we have a little issue with orders, or we need some clarification on something.
Yeah.
So if you've got your number, we can give you a ring. It's much easier to talk to you sometimes on the phone.
We can. We don't have a telephone here at Natasha Makes. There are literally, there's 4 of us most of the time.
We all do about 4 or 5. Gemma does 10 jobs, but most of us do 2 or 3 jobs in our role.
Sure, and we work remotely at times as well, so it's not like we can man a telephone line here, but if you pop us an email and you need a call, then we can normally give you a call. Just bear in mind, because I ring off my personal mobile, it's invariably me that phones.
She's got the best telephone voice.
It's this one, Jane, it's this one. I do withhold my number so that the world and his wife doesn't have my phone number. So if you get a number from a withheld call, it may well be me.
Yes.
All right. Jane, it's absolutely beautiful. You've done wonderful things with it.
Thank you.
I am most thrilled with it. Just very quickly to talk about the finishing, because you've obviously created this beautiful quilt top.
Yes.
To back it, I mean, we've got the binding in the kit.
Yes.
We've got all that you need for the quilt top binding, cushions, etc.
Yeah.
Wadding wise, 2.5 metres, did you
Yeah,
say?
about 2.5 metres. I think that will give you enough if you wanted to take it to your long arm quilter.
Sure.
That will give you that extra bit. You might get away with 2, but I would go 2.5, just to be on the
2.5 generous.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the same with your backing fabric. If you're using a standard width,
which you might
4.5 metres. Yeah, 4.5 metres. I think. Again, just to give you that little bit extra. Obviously, we've got some really lovely extra wide backings.
We have.
There's some beautiful caves that would look rather nice on the back of here. Just saying.
But if you
2.5 metres of your extra wide.
Yeah, 2.5 metres extra wide, 4.5 metres of this.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to use one of these, Jane, you always say to me, if you're going to piece standard width fabric to make a quilt bag, don't put your seam straight down the middle, because that tends to be where you fold.
Offset it slightly.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to have like 2 fabrics, make a strip down the middle and then put the other fabric either side.
Or you could make some of these blocks to go down the centre and have plain fabric either side. So it would look equally beautiful on the back as the front.
Yeah, you could. You could.
Just saying.
Or have
strips. In your blocks.
Strips of the fabric.
In your kit. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, there's fabric in your kit left over. You could make some blocks.
Yeah.
And then get yourself a nice chunk of fabric to go on either side.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
It's all here for you.
I mean, you don't have to do anything fancy with the quilting either. You could literally just sew around the middle block here and quilt a zigzag, you know, following the triangles. That would be all that you needed to do. You could do something along this border here if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Equally, you could just do a tram line just inside.
Yeah.
You could use a variegated thread. If you got a variegated thread that had got some of those colours in, it would look stunning.
But it could be that you want to long arm it as well. You know, that is an option
and
for
there's
sure.
lots of options.
You know, you guys have seen, we've had Amanda in. She's amazing, little quilt house. We've got credit available on our website as well with her. John Cole Morgan, he's another fantastic long arm quilter. There are people out there who will take your quilt and magic it into all beautiful things.
Perfect.
I've sent one to Amanda not long ago, and I was so amazed. That sounds silly, but then it goes quilt top, wadding, backing, and off it goes, and it comes back, and it's just perfection. And she'd overlock around the edges for me as well.
She overlocks the edges for you so that you just have to bind it. It's all ready to bind.
That was the best extra £5 I spent, or whatever it was. The extra little bit of money was all worth it. So now when I come to put my binding on, which is my favourite bit anyway, it's all squared up and perfect and
gorgeous.
neat and all of that. We have had a lovely time with you today. Hopefully you have as well. We are back on Friday. Natasha is bringing you the Pay It Forward. She will be demonstrating the Sheepy Treat little friend here. He'll be the demo on Friday, and also she has a new Pay It Forward to launch for you. Project number 24.
I know, it's amazing.
Bonkers.
Lovely.
And then on Monday, Jane, you and I are back.
Yeah, we're a bit Christmassy, aren't we, on Monday?
Beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I know some of you get a bit miffed with the whole Christmas in July thing, but in our defence, it's the 31st of July on Monday. It'll be nearly August.
Yeah.
And you do need to know what you're doing for Christmas and get those makes started early, don't you? So
I
you've got
think
plenty of time to get them done.
Yeah.
What we've got on Monday is a Macawa make.
Yes.
We've got a sample ready-made for you to see. We've had a little tweak with the fabrics. I think it's an upgrade personally. What we've done, we've changed a couple of fabrics.
Yes.
All Macawa, all beautiful. So we'll show you that on Monday. Natasha will be with you on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, it's that there Lisa Chandler.
Excited.
So, you know, we can't say fairer than that, really. It's a busy old week. Don't forget, at midnight tonight, your Half Meter Heavens will go live, so grab those while you can. Some of those, very, very limited indeed, especially the Amy Butler. We've only got one.
Yeah.
Lynn says, thank you for a fab tutorial. Karen says, fabulous once again, Jane. Jenny
Thank
Mackie,
you.
such a beautiful quilt. Lovely to have you with us.
Don't forget your Friday deals either.
Don't forget.
Oh, there's some nice
Friday
things coming
newsletter
up.
on Friday. And if you want to see previous Friday deals, the deals page is always a good place to have a little peek. I've been trying to load extra bits of stock here and there where we might have some, but it is unusual. Have a little look. We will see you again very, very soon. Jane and I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care, lots of love.
Keep crafting. Bye-bye.
Bye.